Hello everyone. Today we have with us Garima Mundra, who has got rank 80 in the Civil Services examination this year. We extend heartiest congratulations to her and welcome here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
So, my first question to you is, when the result was declared, where were you? What were you doing?
So I think it was pretty much dysfunctional because there was claims that 𝐂𝐨𝐻𝐿 𝐏𝐫𝐞𝐥𝐢𝐦, and I think I was having that major anxiety that, oh, let's see what happens. So I was in my room when the PDF came out, and I just ran towards my mom's room and hugged her, and she understood that, okay, it must be something very good. That's why she's come here like this.
Did you do Control F or did you go down the road?
I did Control F. I wasn't expecting कि कितना ही go down करेंगे, so I just did and that too not for my name, for my roll number. I was like, what if I see another Garima and just get happy for a moment? So I was like, कि roll number ही search करेंगे.
I'd like to know a little bit more about your background, family, education. Where are you from?
So I'm from Ahmedabad. I did my schooling till 12th standard from DPS. And then I did my BCom honors from Sri Ram College of Commerce, Delhi University. And since then, I started preparing for this exam. I don't have any such background in my family because I'm from a Marwadi family and they're very far apart from all these things. My dad is into business and my mom is a homemaker.
Right. So, matlab, you took that one giant step.
Yeah, hopefully more people to come now.
Absolutely. So, this bug for civil services, it bit you somewhere in college. Is that it?
I think my dad had mentioned it during 11th, 12th that, you should try becoming, because I was a very studious person generally. So he just suggested it off the beat. It was there in the back of my head. And when you go to Delhi, I think the culture is much vibrant there. But I still gave myself time to explore corporate through internships. We get placements for internships as well. But I didn't really enjoy it. So I thought it was worth a try. I had a few seniors who had cleared when I was in college. So yeah, that's how the journey started. And I was also stuck in the loop for 2-3 attempts.
So these days we see that there are people who start preparing right from college itself, and sometimes at the cost of their college education also. What is your take on it? What is a good time to start studying and preparing?
So I would definitely not suggest someone to start right from college, because I think college is meant for exploring opportunities that the world has to offer. And if you get access to a very good college like Delhi University, the vibrancy is next level. Except for academics, there are a lot of extracurriculars to look forward to. How it helps is because this exam is very uncertain. There are times you want a plan B, there are times you want to think of an alternate, and you can use that college time to build a base for that alternate at least. So give yourself 2-3 years. Maybe you don't develop that kind of interest in civil services. It's not 100% secure career option anyway. So I think third year or after third year is a better time to start. Use that 1 or 2 years to enjoy and see the world, because once you get into the books, it's really hard to get out of it.
Makes sense. Acha, so this has happened for you in the third attempt, yes, right? With a lot of course, strenuous preparation. But in hindsight, can you sort of identify what specifically does it require for one to crack through the exam? Because no doubt you were working hard before also.
Yeah, I think hard work was never an issue. Right from the first attempt. I think a little bit more smart work was missing. Just putting in the hours does not cut it. So I figured out my personal challenges, strengths and weakness, and that's how I progressed with each step. I think I could see my graph going on an upward trend कि ठीक है prelims नहीं हुआ तो now I'm able to clear prelims. If I wasn't able to crack mains in my first, I was able to do it in my second. So that kind of helped me push forward. It's nothing unachievable, and you see people around you who are from the same background who do it faster, who do it in their first attempt. So I think a lot of things have to align for you to clear this exam, and you have to keep it in mind that even if you put in the hard work, the result might not go in your favor, and you have to be prepared for it.
I do understand. And talking of unpredictability, let's move to pre. So it is a random paper, isn't it?
I think, yeah, when I opened that paper, it was a pretty big shocker that, elimination techniques are a thing of the past. But I think what really helped me in that prelims was I was pretty calm and composed. When I actually opened the paper, I was not nervous or taken aback. I really found it funny that, what have they done to us? And I thought everyone must be going through the same. So that kind of mindset, I think, helped me sail through those 2 hours. I didn't make mistakes out of nervousness, which helped me set myself apart from other people, because when you're nervous in those 2 hours, even things tend to go wrong. So I think not getting bogged down by the trends and whatever the pattern of the paper is, realizing that all of you are in the same boat and making sure that to be composed during those 2 hours is the most important thing you can do to help yourself. Otherwise, your years of preparation just goes down the drain. So I think laughing at the paper really helped me sail through it.
That's a very chill take. Well, but then there would be people who do feel nervous anyway. So is it mock tests or is it a lot of studying that's going to help you gain composure in the exam?
I think if nervousness is an issue, then mock test definitely, and that too in an offline environment, not in the comfort of your homes or rooms, but in an actual setting that really helps you analyze. There are open mock tests that happen, and those tend to be much more random than your actual mock tests. So giving such papers helps you analyze how can you react in a different setting, and if something unknown is thrown at you. So mock tests if you are nervous, and if you're making silly mistakes, then revision, definitely you have to go back and change your process a little bit.
So increasingly, I'm also seeing that CSAT is becoming a bottleneck for people. Now, you're coming from a great college, but I would still want to ask you, have you faced challenges in CSAT, or is it a sail through?
I think I never let the fear of CSAT get to me, because when I started giving my first prelims, it was not that difficult. It used to be an additional paper that you can crack very easily if you solve some 2-3 previous year questions. Now that the pattern has changed a little bit, I think people are feeding onto the fear by making it a big deal. But at the end of the day, you have to realize that things like comprehension, or just play to your strengths. Comprehension was always my strength. Last year paper, they were pretty easy to solve as well. So I never put in additional effort, but it does help to analyze the themes that are asked and practice accordingly, so that time management is not an issue for you in the paper. And don't let what other people have an opinion on CSAT that, oh, it's make or break. Don't let it get to you.
Because CSAT is in some ways peculiar for UPSC. The sort of comprehensions that are asked are not found elsewhere.
Yeah. So again, being in that moment is going to help you, and not going with that mindset that, oh, my GS was pretty bad, then CSAT becomes even worse. And a lot of people miss out on GS because of CSAT. So because of a lot of mindset game goes on there.
So it's a lot of emotional resilience. Yeah. And for resilience, let's talk about mains. It's a bunch of long papers, and getting a rank like yours does have its foundation in mains only. So what I would want to ask you is, what is your method of preparation for mains? Despite studying in notes and everything, but how does one prepare for mains?
So mains is something I've personally struggled with. When my first mains, during my second attempt, I gave it, I realized that my mehnat was not worth this. I was not able to replicate it in the paper, because it is a lot of physical and mental exhaustion while giving the papers as well. So this attempt, I tried to, streamline it a little bit by ensuring that, oh, my basic notes are done. I don't have to worry about them too much. Let me work on a little bit more value addition and play with the examiner's mind. So that was my, it sounds very strong, but that was my take on it, because I realized that, while checking a lot of copies, it does get a little bit exhausting to see the same points. So give them a little bit more graphic, give them a little bit more punchlines in your conclusion for your answers to stand out. So that was the kind of approach I took. I also struggled with finishing my papers in the first go. So working on time management was crucial for me. So for that also, I practiced more full-length tests. Daily answer writing was never my thing, so I ensured that, I need to complete it in 3 hours. So full-length tests was my go-to.
Right. And as you're talking about catching the examiner's eye, among the different subjects, so what are the sort of value additions that you tend to add in a GS1 paper as opposed to, say, a GS3 paper?
So GS1 is a little bit more static. There's not much you can do in terms of value addition, but GS3 gives you way too much scope for value addition. It can tend to get overwhelming, and as we've seen trends, GS3 might not be that scoring, GS1 can be scoring. Such trends also play on your mind that, what do I need to do to stand apart? So GS1 mein what I used to do was I used to remember a little bit more factual data to add value to my answers. So for even questions on art and culture, you need to use a lot of examples to get the examiner to know that you do know your facts correctly. So facts really become helpful, and prelims knowledge help you in that. Don't neglect your prelims notes while you're preparing for mains. But for GS3, what happens is previous year questions become very important, where you can analyze themes and you can see what kind of repetitions do they have. Infrastructure, environment, security is very repetitive. So these are, examiner favorites. So you can already have a set template for them that this is going to be my intro, this is going to be my conclusion. I have a diagram already for, Northeast insurgency or SHGs. So having such templates really helped me to even quicken my speed. Anytime I would see a similar question on that particular topic, I would just start writing my intro that I already had. So that really helped me stand apart this time and also finish my papers.
Right. And if somebody has got a challenge in finishing papers, I must ask them about GS4, which is the lengthiest of all.
Yeah.
So what is your strategy for GS4 specifically?
So GS4, this time what I did was I flipped around the paper. I tried to do my case studies first. How that helped me is because I realized case studies are pretty much similar for everyone. You tend to write the same options, same alternatives. Let me not waste too much of my time. Let's just write what comes in my head. And again, having a template approach to case study really helped me. I had already analyzed previous year questions and ensured that, ethical issues, ethical dilemmas, I already had a list which are common to particularly all case studies. So they just came to me naturally because I had practiced answer writing especially for GS4. So ethical issues ka 15-20 list tha already, and usme se 5-6 I had to write selectively. So case studies I finished pretty fast, and then theory, thankfully this year was pretty straightforward. So I had already had that one quote for every keyword, and those keywords came in the exam. So corruption हो गया, corporate governance, international relations, सब पे quotation था एक दो ही. So I used to conclude my answers through those quotes. I used to use a lot of ethical terms, moral ambiguity, moral ambivalence, to just make the answers sound more ethical. So yeah, I think shortcuts and cheat sheets of ethics really helped me this time.
But these shortcuts make for a very dense answer. I can already sort of imagine your answers with like quotes and all these
But then I use the simplest quotes possible. So for just to give an example, for corporate governance, I had a quote that was like, a business that only earns profit is not a good business. So it's a very easy to remember quote, and I related to it as well. So such very simple one-liner quotes. If you have integrity, nothing else matters. If you don't have integrity, nothing else matters. So I didn't complicate it too much. Just the terms I did use a little bit more technical, not the theories and philosophies, but just like ethical terms, to give it more touch of an ethics paper. That's it.
Lovely. That makes for it's a very simple but a very smart strategy for sure. And talking about templates, essay is becoming very, very unpredictable. So for that, is it that having a fixed template is helpful, or do we look for a more of an organic approach for essays?
So essay and me have a love-hate relationship, because my first mains I got only 75 in my first essay. And there were different people saying different things, that Ahmedabad center doesn't give marks. And people also advised me to change my center to Delhi to get marks in essay. But I had that conviction that clear hoga to yahan se bhi ho jayega, that's fine. I knew I can write a good essay. I would not have done such a big blunder to score 75. So I kind of followed through with that same strategy. I tried watching some, guidance videos on YouTube, and that kind of really messed up my approach to essay because I became very technical that, oh, that person had mentioned it, I need to follow that. But I think being organic really helps in essays. There is a natural writing style to everyone, and I figured out mine. I read a lot of topper essays. I think they are a good template to follow because they've already cracked it. They've scored good marks. So I used to see people who've scored 130, 135 in essays and read their essays every night before going to sleep, 1 or 2 essays, and that helped me get examples also for my essays, and that also helped me ensure that what a balanced essay will look like.
All right. So for essay, nothing really beats reading unless you know the good template. It's very difficult to sort of execute.
Because that worked for me personally. If you have a writing issue probably, then maybe you need to practice more essays. I never thought I had a writing issue. I thought I just need some more good content and some more innovative things, and can cover extra dimensions in my essays. So reading helped me get through that.
Right. And as for your optional, it is a conventional optional also, it's an unconventional optional also, but we're seeing a surge of people applying with commerce. So what I would want to ask you is that, coming from a great college, is there a lot of difference in the sort of papers that are asked by the UPSC and what you do in college, or is there a greater similarity?
I think yes, because I had it as my graduation subject. It was a no-brainer for me to go for it as an optional. I didn't really care that what the trend says. As far as BCom and UPSC papers are concerned, I think they are different. You cannot have the same approach to a college exam that you have in UPSC. One is because the result really matters here. College mate was more free, that it's okay, like I'll just write something that comes to my mind. Here, a lot of hard work does go behind it. Your approach is different, but the subject pretty much is the same. The content is the same. You solve the numericals in the same manner. So obviously that helps you lessen and lighten your preparation. But otherwise, it does require a little bit more hard work, more answer writing. You would never do answer writing for a BCom paper, but college, UPSC ke liye to I did put more effort.
Is it that there is a dearth of resources or guidance for an option like commerce?
I think it can play either ways. For me, I think it was better that there was dearth of resources because everyone was using the same resources. You don't have to beat around the bush that much. Otherwise, for GS, you are mostly overwhelmed by the amount of resources you have. So for commerce, it was pretty much sorted for me that this is the only resource that is available. I'll use it to the best of my advantage, and I can do better than the other people who are using this resource. So I don't think that's an issue, especially with a lot of people clearing with commerce optional. I think guidance also is passing on through one batch to another. So that kind of peer guidance is very helpful for this optional.
For this particular batch of people who've cleared, one of my questions is the fact that it is you who saw this sort of introduction of GPT and AI tools. Did you use it, or is it something that one should stay away from?
I think I never used it for my mains or prelims preparation because I tried using it, but what I experienced was if I'm giving it some question, it's throwing out a very generic answer. So I never liked, because I wanted my answers to stand out, and that is what it was not helping me with. I rather used it more in my interview preparation to clear my DAF, to generate questions that can be asked on certain topics. For interview, I used it much more than for GS.
All right. And as a note taker, are you a paper pen sort of girl, or are you an online person?
So depends subject to subject. For a subject like ethics, which is a little bit more dynamic, I used to make it online so that I can change, add examples, quotes, whatever. For other subjects, I preferred handwritten notes, because I think the recall value is much higher when you write it by yourself. I
understand, which means one should make a decision on basis of that particular subject and what you're looking for. Achha, so in interview, you told me you're using GPT and stuff. Other than that, to sort of address the shock factor of the interview, how does one prepare?
I think interview preparation you need to enjoy, because that's the only preparation where you don't have to mug stuff and you don't have to learn, practice answer writing. You can watch YouTube videos and feel productive at the end of the day. So I think interview was the preparation was fun. As far as the unpredictability of it is concerned, at the end of the day, you have to know that it's just 30 minutes, half of which is predictable at times through your DAF. So you can lead the interview rather than them leading you. So kind of that comes with practice. You give your mock interviews, you figure out that at least if you're confident and you're coming across as a good personality, even if you don't know some questions, it's nothing to worry about. So knowing that it's not a knowledge test, but knowing that, you know, they're just judging you as a good human being, I think that will really lessen your stress at the end of the day.
Well, that makes for a very candid insight that you've given us. Well, thank you so much for your time. It was lovely speaking to you, and the sort of you know, for you it's your experience, but I hope that it brings out a lot of information for somebody who's preparing, right? So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations again.
Thank you.